Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Search for Self-Mastery with Dario Gutiasco. In this episode, I am going to talk to you about the importance of establishing clear boundaries between your personal life and your work. If you find yourself struggling to balance both areas and feel that your personal time is being consumed by your work responsibilities, then stay tuned because I am going to help you with that. Additionally, I will show you how to set effective boundaries to protect your personal time and stop being a slave to work. Well, as always, we like to get straight to the point and start directly. If you cannot establish clear boundaries between your work and your personal life, you are condemning yourself to a life of burnout and frustration. In fact, by not protecting your personal time, it is not just a stress problem. It is a sign of weakness, and others perceive it. If you have not yet developed that skill, and you show that you are stressed, others are likely perceiving that as a weakness in your character, and it may be costing you opportunities in your professional career. So it's time to take control and establish boundaries that allow you to succeed without destroying your well-being. Point number 1. For not setting boundaries, that is the reason why you feel exhausted and out of control. You might be wondering why. Why is that? I don't think that's true. Well, establishing clear boundaries between your work and personal life gives you the control you need to protect your energy and avoid feeling exhausted. And obviously, by not setting boundaries, you overextend yourself, burn out, and end up feeling tired and frustrated. The goal is to know when to stop and draw a line between your work and your personal life, if you want to achieve long-term success and avoid burning out in the short term. If you don't know how to say no, others will treat you as if you have no value, meaning they will boss you around. And if you let your work invade all your personal time and do not set boundaries, it is a sign that you do not even have control over your own life. You are unable to say no. Enough. This is it. You are voluntarily choosing to be exploited. The truth is that you are not a machine, and if you act as if you were, don't expect anything but to eventually collapse. However, that doesn't mean you shouldn't give your best, as these are two very different things. Point number 2. Not having clear boundaries is the sure path to personal and professional failure. What do I mean by this? By establishing boundaries, you not only protect your personal time, but also improve your work performance by avoiding distractions and fatigue. Men who protect their personal time have more energy and greater mental clarity to perform at their best in their work. Let's just put it into perspective. What happens when you let others take your time? When others schedule appointments or meetings during the times you know you need to advance, whether they are internal clients or external clients? Essentially, it means that someone else dictates what you have to do, how you have to do it, and by when. I don't know about you, but I hate that kind of thing, that kind of behavior, and that kind of people when they are around me. So, it's not just about working more hours, but about working with more quality and efficiency. Being more productive in a nutshell? Think of it this way. If you're burned out, which is the famous burnout, you can't excel at anything. In fact, your performance drops when you're tired. Has that happened to you? Surely. What happens when you work nonstop? Well, you can't even respect your own boundaries. You can't respect yourself because you don't know how to say no. That will make you lose both in your personal life and in your career, and everyone can see it. Once again, we return to the point of weakness, and I don't know about you, but personally, I don't like to show weaknesses. When I know that I have control over it, that I can have it, then it means that I am the one who is stopping myself from doing something. If you do not take care of your well-being, your productivity plummets, and you become a man who barely gets by, surviving and doing the bare minimum. Perhaps others perceive that you are working harder, but you know that you are not achieving more. On the contrary, you are achieving less because you do not have the same level of action, energy, and focus to get things done. And that essentially shows that you lack the courage to protect your time. Point number 3. Establishing effective boundaries makes you a more respected and much more efficient man. I don't know if it crosses your mind every time I say to be a more respected man, to be a real man and all that. Why do I repeat it so much? Because if you are even a little like me, you surely want to be an admired man, a man respected for being a good man and doing things right, giving the maximum potential that we have. And if we don't do that, you send. Well, we end up being literally the negative example not to follow. Someone that people say, look at that person or like him. No, that's a child. He's a fool. He doesn't know what he's doing. Don't be like him. And that's why I emphasize this a lot. Returning to the point, men who know how to say no to protect themselves, their time, their focus, and their energy are more respected. It may initially create some conflict and you might feel a bit uncomfortable. But the truth is that it shows they value their time more and that they manage themselves in a better way. And maybe you have seen this or perceived it, but respect is not begged for, it is earned. When you set clear boundaries, you show that you are not available to be exploited. In other words, people will not take advantage of you so easily and will rather go bother someone else. Then people will take you seriously because they will know that you value your time. And by setting clear boundaries, they will think twice about whether they want to mess with you or not. And eventually, they will respect you for all that. Even if some people dislike you, people still respect those they don't get along with. And well, the other side is that if you don't set those boundaries, you will be seen as someone who is always available. And if you are always available, it means that you are not valuable because you are always there. We can also put this in a business context. When you go to the supermarket and see an item that interests you with limited availability, you are more inclined to approach and use it than an item that is excessively abundant. And what is the first thing that always comes to your mind? Then I buy it anyway. There it is. And this is exactly what they think of you when you are always available. So this entire dynamic will wear you down more physically and mentally until there is nothing left of you. In other words, you won't have much to offer. And essentially, your perceived value is not that high. So let's put them a little in context. If you are available to everyone, at all times, no one will respect you, period. They will see you as someone who has no life of their own and will keep demanding more and more from you. It is your responsibility to set the boundaries or continue like this. You decide. So, establishing boundaries between your personal life and work is not an option. If you notice, many of these points I am sharing are not options. They need to be changed. They need to be adjusted. It is an obligation. If you truly value yourself as a man, if you continue to allow your work to control you, if you let other people control you, control your time, what you think, what you do, and what you don't do, you are choosing a life of exhaustion and mediocrity. Eventually, you end up feeling frustrated and resentful towards those people, your work, and yourself. But if you have the courage to set clear boundaries and protect your time, then you are ready to balance professional success with your personal life in a fulfilling way. The decision is yours. Either you continue to be a slave to your work, or you take control and become the man who manages his time wisely and with purpose. That's why I always emphasize this. You are always one decision away from changing your life. See you next time, 2009.